Okay, House of Payne fans, so we are back with season 14. Now I gotta say, um, this season is seemingly off to a pretty strong start. House of Payne, or in this case, House of Realization, is the episode title. I I loved it from top to bottom, and because of that, I'm going to give this episode a 10 out of 10. Because the ending, well, not quite the ending with the Malik storyline, but the final scene between Curtis and Ella, that was some real stuff. And I'm actually impressed with us seeing a different side of Ella for a change. I mean, when was the last time? And remember, this is coming from someone who doesn't quite have the encyclopedia knowledge of the original House of Pain, specifically the last several, the last few seasons compared to have and have nots or sisters. But when was the last time you ever heard Ella say that she doesn't like someone? She can't stand someone. That's a pretty big deal. So, just gotta say, we'll talk about the B story involving Malik just because it's really short and sweet. But then I want to get to the nitty gritty of the episode, being the Elaine scenes as well as the scene between Curtis and Ella, because this is some real stuff. I mean, we have two members of the Payne family harboring feelings that they really need to tell the truth about before moving forward. Of course, I'm referring to like Ella, and if she will reveal how she feels about Laura to Calvin, and maybe even Laura herself. And when it comes to Calvin, we know that he's, still in love with Miranda, but also loves Laura. So before anyone walks down the aisle, before anybody says I do, these feelings need to be brought to the surface because this could impact their lives. Not just, Calvin's life, not just Laura's life, but the whole Payne family and the future of, what goes down. So, with that being said, just gotta say thanks for the House of Payne support because the videos I posted yesterday have been doing very well. One of which is almost on track to hit 20,000 views, so that's really good. Also, make sure you take a moment to like and subscribe. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. And hit that notification bell and select all. That way you're up to date whenever I post content on the channel. I just checked and the channel hit 75 million views yesterday afternoon. So we are slowly but surely getting up to 100 million. Next stop is 80. And well, from there, we just got to keep moving forward. So let's get into this review, talking about the Malik storyline first. So simply put, CJ comes downstairs as Malik realizes he's put on weight, and simply put, bro, it's that dad bod. Or yeah, simply put, it's just a dad bod. And it makes sense. CJ gives some pretty solid advice in this episode, and I had no arguments with CJ whatsoever. Look, multitask. That's the thing you got to learn how to do. There are 24 hours in a day. Everybody has them. Of course, those 24 hours look different for everyone. Now, when it comes to Malik is complaining to his dad about Lisa and the fact that every morning she wants Malik to take Melissa with him, or basically take care of her during the morning. And due to that, he's like, this is the only time of the day I have to myself. And that's the time I can use to work out. But Melissa, I got to take care of her. And CJ's like, that's your daughter. Like, Lisa ain't tripping. You got to figure out how to multitask. And I had to go back and rewatch the scene because I had to think to myself, like, so what is Lisa doing in the mornings? Now, to my knowledge, I don't think Lisa is working. I mean, yeah, we've had episodes where she's focused on, like, do I want to go to school, aka college, or what kind of career do I want? But we've never really seen her definitively in one position, whether it be, at a job or whatever. So I'm guessing this whole, hey, can you take Melissa in the mornings thing is for her to have, you know, a little bit of her time, because I'm assuming the rest of her day consists of taking care of their daughter, which I think is accurate based on what happens later in the episode. And that's, you know, first of all, I was stunned. This is what blew me away. We've actually see Melissa on screen for the first time, and she's adorable. She's adorable, and I'm just like, what in the world? That was a just pleasant surprise that I did not see coming. We finally get to see Lisa and Malik's daughter. Now, let's see. Okay, we had season 9, season 10 ended with her going into labor. Season 11, episode 1, we never seen the baby. We just saw her holding a baby, but we didn't see the baby. So, okay, season 11, 12. Yeah, so she's been, well, alive for 3 seasons, but this is the first time we've seen her. And this is just great. So, you got Malik on the couch reading a story to her. Jasmine comes downstairs, and he immediately tries to pawn off, hey, look after your niece. And it's like, no, I got stuff to do now. It's on you, bro. Come on now. What about the meal prep? I sent you videos how to do it. Well, how am I supposed to meal prep and take care of the baby at the same time? Figure it out. Then Janine comes downstairs, and, you know, Malik tries to pawn, you know, Melissa off on her, but nope, she's on her way out to work. And then CJ comes downstairs, and he's like, no, I'm not doing it. Come on, I'm just trying to get family support. And then CJ rattles down the list of accurate things. You live here with your baby and your baby mama rent free. More than half of the time, you get food here for free. The fridge is full, but then it's empty. So don't act like we aren't supporting you. You're the father. You figure it out. And the best part is that CJ gets a glass of juice. He sits down and relaxes. Enough said. Can't blame him. Can't blame him. Because Malik's whole thing is like, well, how am I supposed to get ready to go to work soon? Like, what's going on with that? Figure it out. Figure it out. Now, by the end of the episode, Malik has it all together. He has Melissa in like a well, I don't know what it's called. I'm assuming like, you know, a baby strap thing. It's like where it's wrapped around like what? Half your almost like a backpack strap. Wait, is he carrying his baby in that? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so I'm just going to call it the mobile cradle. So essentially, he has Melissa, you know, secured in his arms and whatnot, and he's doing meal prep at the same time. Turns out they had a morning walk together. That's the perfect time to spend quality time together, get some fresh air, and Malik gets his steps in. So that's pretty cool. And, you know, CJ and Janine are proud of him and say, yep. CJ's like, yep, we raised him good. Like, Janine's like, yeah, I raised him good. And I'm thinking to myself, what about those years when you weren't there as an addict? But nope. I was like, yep, I'm letting my inner Uncle Curtis come out. But hey, that was comedic and a good storyline. Very good storyline. We finally get to see the baby, and Malik is learning, you know, more about multitasking. So there's that. Also, it's a good lesson for him to learn, considering that allegedly pretty soon, due to his promotion / raise at work, he and Lisa might be moving out soon. And the thing is, given that Melissa's on screen, could this be foreshadowing of new things coming to the show we didn't initially think would happen, such as, well, possibly finally getting new set pieces? That would be nice. So maybe we will get a new location that's going to be, you know, Malik and his mini family's new apartment. That would be nice. So yeah, learning how to multitask is perfect, because the last thing they need is to move out of the CJ and Janine's house, get their apartment, and then they're arguing in the morning because Malik has to get ready and whatnot. He's trying to have some alone time, but Lisa's trying to, you know, say, hey, take care of your daughter too. And it's like, well, I got to go to work, or, you know, we lose this apartment. So yeah, learning this thing right now is very good for him. Now, on to the main story point. Picking up where we left off. Janine and Jasmine, well, specifically Jasmine with a little taste of Janine, are doing way too much. So Jasmine lets Elaine have it, and it is hilarious. I mean, it's trust and believe, more often than not, I'm like, Jazz, you're doing too much. But in this situation, it's like, well, she isn't wrong. Now, Ella tells you know, the sassy twins, if you want to call them that, because at this point, yeah, it's definitely that mouth she gets from Janine. They all have a seat, and they're trying to be cordial about this. And, well, to be blunt, it gets to the point where Ella just says, look, Elaine and I need to speak alone. So Jasmine and Janine, can you two go, please? Okay, well, it's just a tone. That's kind of the running gag of the scene where they constantly say, like, we understand you and Elaine are trying to have a conversation, but it's just a tone in which Elaine is talking that sounds like, disrespectful and degrading, demoralizing and stuff. And the funny thing is, for Janine of all people to say this, because if you ask me, the way Elaine came up in there and the way she talks, doesn't it remind you of Janine's mom, being bougie and whatnot and stuck up? That's the vibe I was getting for her. Now, I recall Miranda's mom too, but I don't remember all that much about her. The only thing I really remember about Miranda's mom is when she was missing and Calvin had just come back in the house because he had been out like all day and night looking for her. And the family tells her, look, you need to sit down and rest. And then I remember the mom just coming up in the house. It's like, where are you? Why aren't you out there finding my daughter? It's like, I was just out there. And it's like, where is she? I don't know. And then I think she had called the cops and they show up to arrest Calvin. But then Miranda magically pops up. So that's all I remember about her. But yeah, Lane, she started off with that, like, okay, I need to know what's going on. But then it kind of de-escalates where they all sit down. And this is where things actually get interesting. So things are calmed down. And Elaine just says, like, it's good to meet you, but certainly not under these circumstances. And Laura has been telling me that, so many times all four of us have been, have met, aka Curtis, Ella, Elaine, and her husband. But the help center and other obligations have come up. And, Janine and Jasmine, before they left, vouched for Ella, saying that, yeah, she helps out a lot of people and whatnot, so she's really busy. And I just kind of sat there and I thought to myself, I understand that, but it just seems to me that, speaking of multitasking, because when I really think about it, that's kind of the theme of this episode, Ella seems to have time or make time for everyone else except for Laura. And that's interesting because I put out a video earlier today. Oh, well, yesterday, because it's May. Oh, happy May. It's May 1st when I'm recording this. But the video I did about, have the Paynes ever given like Laura a fair shot, or to make her feel included in the family? Because I'm thinking to myself, I mean, if we're being honest, Ella seems to have plenty of time or makes time when Miranda pops up or has a problem or whatnot or wants to do something, but then Laura gets kicked to the curb. And I was thinking to myself, that doesn't sound like, and look, I am not saying Ella Payne is not a busy woman, but for her to like constantly cancel meeting the parents to be, well, canceling dinners and other events where the in-laws would sit down and meet, basically the woman that her son is about to marry, that doesn't sound like Ella at all. So, she does mention how, this is a house of love. And, she came in here all disrespectful. Well, how is it a house of love and you're telling her to get her narrow ass out? And then, yeah, it's the tone. But then out of nowhere, Curtis comes in and the sneak peek pretty much told everything that happened. So he basically straight up says, well, your daughter came in to our home and was disrespectful to my wife. And Elaine claps back saying, well, that's because you've been disrespectful to her. And I'm like, what? And then it keeps going like this, like back and forth until she says, like, I'll be damned if my daughter is like, whoa, 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 whoa. And you could just look at Elaine's behavior and it's like, this is exactly where Laura gets it from. Because the way she's like coming up in there with an attitude, cursing and everything, that's the exact same way Laura rolled up into the house. Now, at first it was cool, But then when Miranda's like, oh, why don't you stay? I wasn't talking to you, Miranda's like, oh, crap. So this is exactly who her daughter is and who she will be in the future. Seriously. Now, I'm not going to dock a point for this. I'm still giving the episode a 10 out of 10. But I really wish the theory I had along with other fans being that Jasmine unknowingly recorded the confrontation while she was getting ready for her class project, the broadcasting class project. And then it could have been shown to Elaine the entire scenario of what went down. But the thing is, even though Laura feels disrespected and whatnot, that is no excuse for the way she rolled up into the house. Now, she did apologize for Laura and whatnot, but it would be a lot better. And I have a feeling this storyline is going to continue. It has to. It has to. I hope. There needs to be a scene where Laura apologizes for how she acted. She does. She really does. But from there, Ella gets Curtis to, calm down because, like, well, you disrespect her. It's like, she tells me you don't even know her name. And first of all, well, Curtis is going to be Curtis, but he knows her name is Laura, and he even says that in the finale. But, him being him, he just messes up her name on purpose. But the thing about Elaine that she needs to learn about Curtis and Laura, if she spent more time with the family, is the fact that that's who Curtis is. He treats everybody like that. Everybody. It's like, even if he eventually warms up to someone, he's still going to be Curtis. So that's one thing. Now, from there, Curtis is told to go to the back and pretty much give these two women, some private time. And simply put, I understand you're a busy woman. And her and Ella do come to an understanding. It's like, heck, I'm even tired just hearing all the stuff you got to do. Because, like, I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother. I'm an aunt. And I work at the help center. And I'm a crown. And, this, that, and the third. And I'm thinking again, Ella, you are very busy. But yet again, you always make time for, like, everybody else, including Miranda. But when it comes to Laura, like, something's wrong. Like, this doesn't sound like Ella Payne. So she does agree to, like, quote unquote, free up her schedule to get to know her future daughter-in-law and whatnot. And Elaine so eloquently says, without Miranda. Yes, without Miranda. And, well, there is a lot of truth to that. So then and then she leaves. And then that leads to the final scene to talk about. And that's when Curtis comes in and sees that Ella is upset. It's like, baby, don't let that woman get to you. And I loved how defensive and understanding Curtis was in this episode, which again is another highlight for me. And Ella's just sitting there saying how, this house has never had any drama and whatnot. Again, not to throw Janine under the bus again, but let me put it this way. Typically, Curtis and Ella's house doesn't necessarily have drama. There is drama that comes to their front door due to the family members outside and their drama, literally being dragged there, such as, like Janine's former dealer, Miranda's parents and Janine's parents, and the list goes on and on and on. So I wouldn't necessarily say that Curtis and Ella's house is drama free. When it's just the two of them, yeah. The only dramas usually come down to Curtis being inconsiderate. But in terms of, like, people being completely disrespectful and whatnot, it's usually outside forces that, kind of barge their way into the home. So I will say that. But she's taking, and I guess this is why the episode is called House of Realization, because Ella does, realize, like, I have been avoiding her. And it's like, no, Ella, it's like, you're always busy. It's like, come on. It's like, no. It's because I've been avoiding her, because if I'm being honest with myself about this girl that's about to become part of the family, I don't like Laura. I can't stand her. And a lot of people on Twitter I saw were kind of cheering because Ella said exactly how fans have been feeling about her. And this is some real stuff. Now, it just makes you wonder when or if she finally tells this to Calvin, how is he going to react to it? because this could be the scapegoat he's been using. It's like, well, I am still in love with Miranda, but I love Laura too. But when it boils down to it, wait, if my mama doesn't like Laura, then me breaking things off of her wouldn't be that bad, right? Right? Yeah, because I don't want to make my mom upset, because that's a flimsy excuse, but better to not marry someone if you are unsure and if you have feelings for someone else, because it's just, you're cheating that person. Like I said, like Laura or hate Laura, it's not fair to her for Calvin to marry her if he's not even sure about, how he feels, especially when he has cheated on her multiple times during their engagement. But yeah, this is very telling. I never thought I'd see the day where Ella would say she straight up doesn't like someone. So wow, just wow. All right, folks. Well, with that being said, that is the episode review for House of Realization. As always, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. Thank you so much. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll catch you all in the next one.